All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to some more of the Divine Speaker. I'm recording this directly after I just finished recording the last episode. So we're just going to hop right into it and continue on with this story, see what happens next, and see what we're going to do with this guy who tried to kill us, tried to do something while Fawn's house was on fire.
No way!
I heard a gasp from behind me. Neither of us expected to find him so easily.
Shit.
Thousands of questions swirled around in my head, but now wasn't the time. He looked hurt. And so you're gonna use your powers to, really? Slowly and quietly, I inched closer to him. From a distance, I can see he has some cuts and bruises, but they didn't look too bad. There were scars on his stomach and arms, too, but they looked old. How did he get these? I knelt down beside him. Right now, whatever he did or said doesn't matter. Just needs help. I started at his legs and worked my way up. No injuries here. Stomach seems fine, apart from a bruise or two. I looked back at his face. Eyes that were previously closed in pain now bore into me. He didn't look happy. I'm too close. Barely a second went by before a blade was pressed against my throat. I froze. What do I do? Maybe not get close to a guy who just tried to maybe kill you? He pushed the knife against my skin and I felt a warm, stinging sensation. Followed by the feeling of something wet running down my throat. Well, we just went from maybe attempted to attempted. I swallowed, but my mouth felt completely dry. His eyes hadn't left mine the whole time. They were watching me, almost as if he was judging my every movement.
You're injured. Let me...
You think I need help from someone like you?
Apparently. He smirked at me, though it was obvious he was still in pain.
I'd die before letting a pipsqueak like you...
Oh, there was more to that. I cut him off. Mid-sentence, he started coughing abruptly. A loud, throaty cough. Now's my chance.
Gotcha!
Now's Fawn's chance. Before I could do anything, Fawn came up beside me and knocked the blade out from the man's hand. My hand went instantly to my throat. I was met with a wet sensation, but the cut didn't feel very deep. The stinging was only mild. When the injured man started reaching for something else, I noticed red all over the hand he just coughed into. Wait. Something else? I quickly grabbed both of his arms. They both felt toned and strong. He was definitely fit and much stronger than me, but his injuries must have weakened him a little.
Fawn, see if he has any other weapons.
1, 2, 3. What are we counting? The number of weapons? 6 other daggers. And a whip. You didn't even know what a whip was last episode.
You're... well-equipped.
Well, I was. Now I'm not equipped at all.
I let go of his arms. He was barely fighting against me now. I peered into his face again. A line of red trickled out from the corner of his mouth.
Which parts hurt?
I'm not much of a doctor, but there must be something I can do.
Which parts hurt? God, where to start? My legs, my back, my stomach, my throat.
Why are you playing along with this?
But you know what hurts the most?
Being so close, having so much to say, and watching you walk away? I looked at him eagerly, ready to try and help.
That I have to see your dumb fucking face this close up. Get away from me.
Thank you. He smiled to himself. I guess he thinks he's really funny. How does anyone deal with people like this by not being stupid?
Excuse me, we're just trying to help you.
What's that? I'm sorry, I don't speak mouse.
Oh, sorry.
I love him so much.
Don't say sorry. He's being rude to you. And you obviously need help, and we're going to give it to you, whether you like it or not.
I'd like to see you try.
How unappreciative can you get? Why is he so opposed to help that he obviously needs? Why are we helping him? He just tried to kill us. The other day, what I did to Fawn. Maybe I could try that again? I don't owe this asshole anything, but if I could just take away a bit of his pain instead of it all. I don't know how to, but it couldn't hurt to try, right? Listen, Rain, when you took away Fawn's pain, you literally got his injuries on your body. It will quite literally hurt to try. Fawn's already stripped him of his weapons, plus he's injured, so it shouldn't be too dangerous to touch him, right? Last time all I did was touch Fawn and it happened. I reached my hand out towards him. His arm was covered in cuts and bruises.
Touch me, and see what happens to you.
Sounds like an empty threat to me. What are you gonna do?
He's struggling to just keep his eyes on me, so I doubt he'll do anything now. I ignored his words and lightly touched my fingertips to his wrist. A flash of light, booming voices. Not. His skin felt warm, but nothing happened. It worked last time.
What the hell are you?
He started to cough violently again, more blood trickling from the corners of his mouth. Any resistance he had before was gone. He didn't even shake my hand off of him.
Are you okay?
Get lost.
Just let us help you.
His eyes slowly narrowed before they fully closed. Oh, he died.
Fawn? Why did he close his eyes? Is he okay? What do we do?
Fawn rushed over to my side, tossing the daggers and whip to the ground. He felt at the man's throat, carefully. All I could do was watch. I've never felt so useless.
He's alive,
Darn.
but he's obviously pretty badly injured. We need to get him somewhere we can check and clean his wounds.
In times like this, Fawn seems like a different person. Dependable, strong, unlike me.
Why didn't it work?
Fawn looked at me for a moment, thinking.
I don't know. Maybe you just can't control it yet. Maybe it was a miracle.
Last time the voices told me to help you. This time they were silent.
Believe it or not, Rain, this guy and Fawn are not the same person. So, like, if you're supposed to be protecting Fawn according to the voices, let's not protect everybody.
Anyway.
Carefully, I lifted the man onto my back. He's so much taller than me, so it's kind of awkward.
Fawn, can you gather his belongings? We can carry him over to the river and check him out.
Yes.
He scurried around, picking up the weapons that lay discarded on the forest floor.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Fawn took one last moment to stare in the direction of his destroyed house, which, by the way, Fawn's sad because his home and everything that he's collected over the years is destroyed. But let's focus on this guy. But only one before turning away and following after. I'm getting snarky in this episode. Lugging this guy across the forest was no easy feat. Fawn ended up having to help me with his legs, since they were dragging on the ground and he was groaning and shifting around every time he got caught on a bush. How unappreciative. Rain. What a troublesome guy. Eventually, we reached the river. What should have been a 15-minute walk slowly became an hour-long struggle. I placed him down on the ground carefully with a sigh.
That took a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, he's way too tall.
The redhead was still out cold. This is our chance to check his wounds properly without him complaining. We looked over his exposed arms and stomach again, but there was nothing life-threatening. Fawn got to work with cleaning the dirt from those wounds while I checked elsewhere. His face, fine. He's actually got pretty nice features, but you can barely tell past his awful expression. Legs don't seem to have any problems. They feel quite muscular, too. I felt them for a moment before moving on. I looked again at the small trickle of blood coming from his mouth.
I guess I should check his mouth?
He's gonna bite you, dude. I glanced at Fawn for confirmation. He gave me a little nod. Alright, here it goes. I touched a finger to his mouth. His lips were soft. Softer than they ought to be for someone with such nasty language. I parted his lips with my finger and opened his mouth. Me too, dude. His eyes shot open. We instantly made eye contact.
Ugh.
You mind getting your fingers out of my mouth?
Just bite him.
Oh, of course.
I took my finger out of his mouth and a disgusted look spread over his face. He spat and reached for his belt.
What did you do with my weapons?
Why do you need them?
Don't worry, we have them safe.
Oh, I'm not worried about them. You just know what they say. Don't let children near sharp objects and all. Especially if that pipsqueak over there has them.
It looks like his attitude wasn't injured. He sat up, but it looked like moving took a lot of effort. Right now, he doesn't seem too dangerous.
Listen, you need our help. You obviously can't leave by yourself, so just cut the attitude and let us help you. Why don't we introduce ourselves? My name's Rain, and the one with the light hair over there is Fawn.
And I'm the king of Aurelia Cavella.
Oh, nice to meet you, Your Highness.
Fine. Leos. You should have just left me where you found me. Can't think of anything worse than being indebted to someone like you.
Stop being so unappreciative. We could still leave you here.
Fawn walked back over from the river. He'd gathered some water to clean Leos' wounds.
This might sting a little.
Ouch.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. It serves him right.
I chuckled quietly. That's what you get for being nasty. While Fawn was busy, we had a moment of silence. Finally, a chance to ask some questions.
So, what exactly is going on? Did you burn Fawn's house down? Were you with the other two?
He watched me with narrowed eyes, probably deciding if he even wanted to bother answering my questions. Eventually, he just sighed.
No point in keeping it secret now. If I go back, they'll just get rid of me anyway. I know they'll look for any excuse. Someone hired me to track you down. Paid well for it, too.
And the other two. The fire.
Yes, I was with the other two, but they were idiots anyway. I'm sure they're burning in hell by now. You can blame them for the fire. I wouldn't do something so showy.
Someone hired you to track me down? Why? Now you're going to stay quiet?
Sorry, I was just admiring how dense you are. To kill you, obviously. I didn't know about the other kid, though.
Glanced at Fawn.
What? Why would anyone?
No clue. I just follow orders.
I felt sick. Who would do that to me?
But in the town square.
Whoa, you're not a total airhead after all. I'm amazed. The only instructions I received were to follow you and direct you to the archives somehow.
Interesting. So this was before. I thought maybe it was like the speaker got angry and decided to send him after us. But like this is... I mean, it makes sense. I'm stupid.
Not the kind of job I'm used to. Any sane person that wanted you dead would have had me assassinate you in your sleep, but money's money. Not my job to ask questions. I thought it would have been more work, but you took the bait easily. You should learn not to trust people.
But I was thrown out because of that. Because of you!
You were thrown out because you're so gullible. That has nothing to do with me. Maybe you shouldn't believe everything you're told, huh? Anyway, you can blame whoever employed me. I'm not taking the blame for that one.
Then, what do you know about my markings? You said you recognized them.
Absolutely nothing. I just repeated what I was told to say. How am I meant to see something your sleeve is covering? Idiot.
My face flared up. I really do feel like an idiot. Whoever hired him was the one who knew about my markings. Then I have 2 leads. I only have 1, so you're better than I am. Prince. Oh. I was taking it as though you have 2 leads on who employed him. You're just talking in the general plot. We have Prince Caspian and Leos' employer. Neither would be easy to find. It's not exactly like I can traipse back home to question them. And what about the prince? Is he even alive? I've never heard about him from anyone. Fawn watched me with worried eyes, but still went about cleaning Leos' cuts. Before I could ask anything else, he cut back into the conversation.
I've cleaned up your wounds as best I can, but
He glanced at his mouth.
I think some of them may be beyond us. We need to get help from a healer or a doctor.
How? If either of us enter Aurelia Cavella, we'll be toast.
Well, if we go east, through the forest, we'll eventually get to Stagwitch.
Again, listen, I like the guy, but why are we doing so much to help them?
Sidkeum is past that, but it's pretty far away.
Those names again. What's he talking about?
Fawn, I didn't want to say anything before, but maybe you're a little confused from being out here so long. Aurelia Cavella is the only place nearby. Well, the only place full stop. The rest of the world is just forest. You should know that.
You keep saying things like that. Is that really what they told you?
He had a sad look in his eyes.
I'm not sure what they taught you in your hometown, but there's an entire world out here. Cities, villages, nations, people. I've never even heard of Aurelia Cavella.
That's interesting. They're so far away from society that even society doesn't know about them.
What do you mean? You've never been there?
Unless it's just a normal town that they tell all the villagers, no, we're called this, but they're actually called something else.
I don't think so. It's kind of strange. I remember following the river at one point, but there was a dense fog, and I'd find myself back at my house. I'm starting to believe there's not a village there at all.
Of course there is.
You keep some, interesting company. A crazy, delusional wild forest boy, some kind of cross between a mouse and a fairy.
I'm not crazy. I can't believe that a place with those kinds of teachings could possibly exist.
My book does say something about Kid Ham. Kid Hayham. I don't know, something strange is going on.
You two might not believe me yet, but like you said, you can't return home, and you need help. You'll just have to trust me this time. I can show you to the edge of the forest, and the 2 of you can go down and find help.
And you'll just stay here?
And then I'll try to rebuild, I guess.
No, you're coming with us. This is an adventuring party now. Hoorah. When he puts it like that, there's really not a lot of options. We can't go back, and staying here isn't really an option either. If we just play along, he'll eventually work out that no matter how far we walk, we're not going to get anywhere. I guess being as far away from here as possible would probably be in our favor, too.
Okay. I trust you, Fawn. We'll go with you.
He beamed at me. Seems like that was the correct answer.
I don't get a say in this?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
So, we follow the crazy man out into the middle of the forest. Sounds like an amazing plan, and one that definitely won't end in murder.
I mean, it started with murder, so...
That's funny, coming from you.
Really though, Leos looks kind of delicate up close. A pained expression, dark eyelashes, a slim face.
Hey, up close you aren't so bad looking.
Rain, have you ever considered shutting your mouth? That shut him up.
Actually, I wanted to ask, what exactly does that make you then? Why do they hire you?
An assassin, a mercenary, whatever I'm paid enough to be.
He looked away. Seems like he doesn't want to talk about it. I pushed on anyway.
An assassin? They actually exist? Why?
To get rid of unwanted people. Why else? And right now, you're looking very unwanted.
Thanks.
You know, bodies are being dumped out here. Do you know anything about that?
Just full of questions, aren't you?
I guess that's the end of his leniency. He answered a lot of my questions, though, which is surprising.
I'm finished with your wounds now.
But you were, like, 10 minutes ago.
Try not to get any more dirt in them.
And here I was, thinking of smearing mud through my cuts. Thank you for your wisdom, O gracious one. How will I ever be able to repay you?
Oh dear. Fawn looked away, embarrassed. I'm not great at dealing with people like him, but Fawn's definitely worse. I glared at him, but the cocky grin didn't leave his face.
They won't stop with just sending me. When I don't return, I'll just send someone else.
Then we need to get out of here before anyone else comes. Will you be able to walk? Do you want us to carry you again?
I'm fine on my own.
He tried to stand, but his legs were still unsteady. Finally, with only a little of our unwanted help, he stood up.
If you need to lean on my shoulder while you walk, you can. I don't mind.
I'm not sure I can bend down that far.
Fine. Don't complain when you end up needing my help.
What an asshole. Next to him, Fawn looked like a saint.
It's a bit of a walk to the forest's edge. We should leave now, before it gets too dark.
Fawn motioned in the direction that I presumed was the way we needed to go. For now, we'll follow him. Even if he might be slightly delusional, it's better than staying here. Especially now that we know that others could come after me.
Yeah. I think that's for the best.
Okay then.
Fawn looked at Leos with a concerned expression on his face. It was obvious just from the way he was standing that he was already struggling. I wonder, will he really be okay with the long walk? I want to help him, but he won't have a bar of it. He's way too stubborn. I've never heard wouldn't have a bar of it before. If I even try to reach out and steady him, he flings abuse at me. Whatever then, just let him struggle. If he really needs help, I want him to ask for it.
Hurry up then. Lead the way, Forest Fairy.
Forest Fairy?
You prefer mouse, pipsqueak, runt? Glad that's settled then. Get a move on, unless you want to be caught here. It'd be a laugh watching you two defend yourselves, though. Maybe we should stick around after all.
Poor Fawn, he really can't catch a break. I looked over at him apologetically. Why is Leos' attitude so bad? I'm not holding my breath, but it'd be nice if he could be even a little bit friendly. We're doing all of this for him anyway. The least he could do is show some gratitude. He didn't ask. I don't even know why he's playing along with this.
We don't have any supplies now, either.
I didn't think about that. What do we do about food?
Pick things along the way.
We'll have to find water along the way, too. I'm sure we'll stumble across some fresh water, so if we can scavenge berries or something, we should be okay.
What about shelter?
I'm not sure. Hopefully, we can find somewhere under cover.
Less talking, more moving.
Yes, yes, Your Highness.
The last few hours have been extremely slow. We've walked a little more, then walked a little further. Fawn walked slightly ahead, scouting out our path and guiding us. All Leos and I could do was follow along behind him. The setting sun cast our surroundings in orange and red. For some reason, this time of day seemed the most sad. When I looked around, it didn't look any different to where we were an hour ago, or 2 hours ago, or 3. But obviously Fawn knew where he was going, or where he thought he was going anyway. He tried not to show it, but Leos must have been in a lot of pain. He didn't fall behind, but he was struggling. If I tried to help him, he'd brush me off and insult me again. After all this walking, even I felt exhausted, so I almost didn't want to think about how Leos was faring.
Fawn, I think Leos and I are getting a bit tired. Maybe we should start looking for somewhere to stay for the night.
He stopped in his tracks and turned to face us. Here I was, huffing and puffing, and he hadn't even broken a sweat. He's really something else.
You might be right. It'll start getting dark soon. I'll see if I can find some place to rest. Wait here for a second.
Before I could blink, he was already halfway up a tree. He climbed it like it was natural.
What is he? Is some kind of monkey?
I was thinking squirrel, but okay.
I thought you were going with mouse.
Dumbasses united.
Do you really trust him?
I looked over at Leos, puzzled. This is the first time we've really been left alone together. It's pretty awkward being alone with someone that tried to kill you.
Why wouldn't I?
He lives out here? In the forest? By himself? He's obviously got a few screws loose as well.
He hasn't given me any reason to not trust him. He might have some crazy ideas, but he's the only reason I've survived this long. And he's not as weak as you think he is either. So yeah, I do trust him. He's more trustworthy than some assassin who goes around burning down houses, huh?
Ouch! You wound me. But that really wasn't...
Guys, I can see some kind of lake to the south of us.
10 out of 10. Oh my god, seeing Fawn's face pop up like that. That was some good, I don't know, animation, movement. Fawn popped his head out of the tree and waved to us.
Alright. That sounds like where we'll be spending the night. Can you lead us there?
Of course.
His expression was bright and warm. Seeing him smile like that makes me happy for some reason. He dropped down from the tree gracefully, like a cat.
Follow me.
Like we have a choice. Ugh, ow.
I elbowed him lightly in the ribs. Hope it hurt. Oh, this might be a weird topic, but I'm kind of interested in what Leos thinks. Okay. Maybe he'll know something about what Fawn said last night?
Hey, Fawn?
Oh my god.
Tell Leos about that kissing thing. And the marriage and love.
Rain, what the fuck?
Really? Right now?
He flared up again.
Fawn told me that when you want to be with someone forever, you fall in love, get married, and kiss. Have you ever heard of that?
I'm going to leave the room, Rain.
What are you on about?
Please tell me you mean that in like you're crazy, Rain, and not a I've never heard of this either. Please.
And when you kiss, you make babies. Is that how they do it at home?
No. You don't have babies after you kiss.
Oh. Then how do you have babies?
Go ahead. On.
That's obvious. The speaker has something to do with it, of course.
They're idiots.
No, seriously? You don't know?
I don't. They don't tell us anything about babies until after we're matched up.
When two people are in love, they, show it physically.
What the fuck is he talking about? Love?
I have no clue. He told me it's something you feel when you look at someone. But all I feel when I look at you is... indifference?
I'm flattered. All I feel when I look at you is a desire to trip you over.
That's not very nice.
How can you not know about something like love? I mean, even if you don't know about it, surely it's something you could still feel. You don't have to understand love to feel it. In fact, I think most people don't really understand love. But to not even know of the notion?
Sounds like something a crazy, tree-dwelling lunatic would come up with.
Are you sure it's real?
Are you sure it's real?
Even the idiot agrees with me.
Of course I'm sure. Before I lived here, everyone around me loved each other. My family loved each other. My parents... my parents loved each other as well. It's normal to grow up surrounded by love.
Does this physically pain you? His parents? Didn't he mention not knowing them? He turned his face away from us. Maybe it'd be best to leave the subject alone for now. I have thoughts. I won't share them, but I have thoughts.
Ah, is this the lake?
I'm still thinking about my thoughts. I assumed something, and now I'm questioning whether or not I'm wrong, and it's actually the other way. That's all I'll say. We came out in a small clearing. Weeds and flowers grew by the edges of the lake, and frogs croaked loudly. This is a really pretty lake, though. The water was mostly still, apart from a small trickle.
Do you think the water's fresh enough for us to drink?
Try it.
Who knows what kind of filth grows in a place like this?
Well, some of the water is running, so it should be safe enough to drink.
Really?
Maybe. I'd be a bit more worried if the water was completely still, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
He didn't look entirely convinced. Not many other options for water, though.
We were lucky to find some so quickly. I wish we could take some with us, though.
Just cup your hands.
We still have a long walk ahead of us.
I'll appoint myself as supervisor then. Get on with it.
He plonked himself down on the grass. Typical.
I'll see if I can find anything useful.
Fawn immediately went to work searching through the surrounding bushes.
Hey, Leos. Surely you have something useful in that pack of yours.
What pack?
Something very useful. Come take a look.
I leaned over and looked into his bag.
More knives? Really?
That is very useful. He grinned. Smug asshole.
Forget it. You're totally useless.
What's not useful about a few extra blades, huh?
Everything when we're trying to survive out here.
I can think of plenty of ways that a dagger could help you to survive.
What?
You're too innocent.
How irritating. Why are we bothering to help him again? I don't know. Looking pretty satisfied with himself, he watched while Fawn and I searched around the area. So, he has more daggers after all. I guess stripping him of his weapons was kind of a waste of time. It makes me feel a little bit uneasy. I don't trust him with them, not even slightly. It'll be hard to take them, too. Will he try to attack us during the night? Who knows? I wouldn't put it past him. But maybe he feels like he owes us and won't try to hurt us? Maybe. It's a really big maybe. By the way he carries himself, I can assume he knows how to use them well. I don't want to end up on the receiving end again. When I put my hand to my throat, I could still feel the cut from earlier. It still stung, but at least it was only light. That confrontation could have ended up a lot worse. I dug around the bushes a little and checked around the perimeter. There wasn't much around. Sticks, rocks, the occasional mushroom. I found my way back over to Fawn.
Found anything?
No. I think we're too far from anywhere to find anything here.
I guess we can't take any with us then. Still, at least we can drink now. Leos, if you want a drink, you're gonna have to come get it yourself.
Aren't you supposed to be taking care of me? I mean, you want me to walk all the way over there? By myself? You two sure are useful.
He dragged himself up from the grass, biting his lip the whole time. Despite, well, his whole personality, I do feel a little sorry for him. I wish there was something I could do to help.
I'll keep an eye out for more water along the way.
Okay, thanks, Fawn.
I sat down next to the water and looked at my face. In the near still water, my reflection stared straight back at me. Ugh, I look bad. I'm filthy, covered in injuries, and I have huge bags under my eyes already. A lot has happened in the last few days, but it's no excuse to look this bad.
Are you okay? Aren't you thirsty?
No, I'm definitely thirsty. A lot's happened lately. I guess I was just trying to process some of it.
No point dwelling on it. Just accept it and move on. You're not the only one that's lost something.
What does that mean? I glanced over my shoulder. Both of them were behind me, watching. Leos crossed his arms over his chest, a strange look on his face. I guess both of them have lost important things too.
Yeah, I know.
I dipped my hands into the ice-cold water. It felt fresh and cool against my sweaty skin. I quickly washed my face and had a drink. Just doing that made me feel a lot better. I should probably check my wounds while I'm at it.
Let me help.
Fawn sat down in front of me, cross-legged. He unwound the cloth that was wrapped around my arm and inspected the wound.
It already looks a lot better. I'll just clean it up a little, then wrap it again.
He raised my chin with his fingertips and took a quick look at my throat. Looks like it was only a scratch after all.
Leos, I can check yours too, if you'd like.
Without complaint, he sat down opposite me. With a straight look on his face, he let Fawn check and clean his wounds again. The whole time, he stared at me silently.
So, what happened to your arm? That's not an injury from today.
I looked over at Fawn the exact same moment he looked at me. What should I say? Why would he care? He shook his head at me. Maybe he thought it was best not to tell him what happened.
I got scratched by a tree when I was walking around at night.
You know those trees always come into life to scratch people. He didn't look convinced. Oh well, I don't have to convince him.
I know you said you didn't know anything about my markings, but have a look again. You might remember something.
I rolled up my other sleeve and showed him the black engravings running up my arm.
When you told me to go to the archives, I found a book with the same markings in it, but I have no clue what it says.
For once, Leos's face was serious as he listened to me closely.
The only thing that stood out to me was the name Caspian. I think he could have been the last of the royal family. Maybe he'd be able to read these markings.
Caspian? The last king wasn't Caspian. He never became the king.
What?
Caspian never ascended to the throne.
Still, you know about him? I've never heard a thing about him.
Well, how old are you?
I just came of age, 18.
Well, that'd be why. He wasn't around much then, if at all. He disappeared when you were just a baby.
How old is Leos?
I was, only a kid at the time too, so I don't know too much about him. All I know is that him and his entire family were all met with untimely deaths.
They died? Did he die too?
Who knows? They didn't find his body. But no one's seen him since either.
My heart dropped. Caspian. He's my only hope.
You don't know that, though. I survived out here. Maybe he's hiding somewhere.
No way. No one could survive out here for that long.
He looked Fawn up and down.
No one normal, anyway.
Ugh.
Well, anyway, no one knows. And a little stranger, no one talks about it. I mean, you didn't even know he existed, right? Not that I care. It doesn't make any difference to me. Not anymore.
Sure. Any more? Still, that's a good point. I knew that at one point we had a monarchy and a king and a royal family, but I've never heard the details. I didn't even know when it was dismantled. Weird.
So, you're shirted.
Are you talking to me?
Who else would I be talking to? Yes, you.
Are we creating a club of people who only wear half shirts?
My shirt. I found it.
I lost one, very similar to that, not long ago.
I found it on the riverbank near where my house used to be.
How did you lose yours, Leos?
I was washing it in the river.
And it just swam away from you?
Seriously?
Oh, it's starting to get pretty dark.
Today felt like a long day.
We've been talking for so long, I didn't even notice it was getting darker and darker.
We should probably get some rest.
The further we go, the colder it's going to get. It'd probably be best if we stayed near each other tonight.
That's gonna be a real big problem for the people who only wear half shirts. Getting colder. Tummies are gonna get chilled. He blushed again. It's kind of cute.
You two can huddle together all you want. I'll be fine by myself.
Somehow, I feel like in the middle of the night, gonna be a little bit of waking up, and we're just gonna be in a little bit of a pile. Just saying. After brushing his clothes off, he quickly left to sleep somewhere out of sight. I'm really not surprised that he didn't agree, but that was still a little rude.
I'll find somewhere comfortable.
Fawn went in the opposite direction. I think it would be really weirdly out of character and just weird for the stories if I did. Well, it's the demo. I doubt it really cares if I make a decision. I was like, does this change depending on whose route you want to do? This is the demo, so like... Well, I'm sure leaving Leos by himself will be fine. It's not like he'd want me there, and I don't really want to be around him anyway. If my mouse would quit sliding into the screen like that, it just does that all by itself. Like Fawn said, sticking close together for the night is a better idea. I'll go find him instead. I followed in the direction I saw him go a moment ago. I found him leaning up against a large tree, his eyes shut softly.
Hey, Fawn. Are you awake?
He nodded at me, opening his eyes slightly. He sounds really worn out. When I sat down next to him, he scooted a little closer. I'm sure he's cold in what he's wearing. When our arms touched, I could feel how cold he was, even through our clothes. Quickly, I removed my jacket and laid it over his shoulders. He opened his mouth, probably to protest.
I'm warm, really. I'll tell you if I want it back.
I looked up towards the heavens. Above us, thousands of stars filled the night sky.
You know, it's worth enduring through the darkness, because then you'll get to see the stars.
I turned to look at Fawn. He was staring at me already. Stars enchanted me from within his big, round eyes. I didn't want to look away.
So... You go first.
So, where did Leos go?
I'm not sure. I didn't check. I'm sure he'll be fine.
You could have stayed with him tonight. He's injured and...
It's not really a story reason to, but okay.
Why? I'd rather come with you.
He looked away from me, a pink hue to his cheeks. His long eyelashes brushed against his delicate, pale skin. Seems like a strange thing to notice, but it really stands out for some reason.
Thank you.
I don't really know how to say this, and I know nothing I say is going to make it better, but I'm really sorry about your house, everything you collected, your friends.
Don't worry about it. I'm just glad you're safe. I'm glad that you made it out alive. I hope they escaped. All I can do is hope.
I watched the night sky for a moment.
You know, the speaker taught us that the gods are always watching over us. From the moon, the sun, from every star in the sky. Surely they're watching out for us right now. I know everything will be okay.
I felt something soft on my shoulder. You're talking to nobody, dude. He fell asleep.
Huh?
When I looked down, all I could see was his messy blue hair. He must be exhausted.
Fawn, really, I should be the one thanking you. So much has happened, and you've stuck with me through it all. You've shown me nothing but kindness. I've never met anyone like you before. Are you awake?
Baker. He shifted a little. I probably made him embarrassed again.
Have you heard the story about the sun and the moon before?
The sun and the moon?
The god of the sun and the god of the moon. The matron at my orphanage told it to me growing up. Once upon a time, the sun and the moon worked in harmony. They weren't contained to night and day, but ruled over the skies together. For a time, it worked. But they wanted more, and that was their undoing. The two were split apart forever, never to meet again. The matron says that after this, the two would reach out towards each other at dawn and at dusk, but they can never quite reach far enough.
Why are you telling me this?
You're pretty smart, Fawn. I wanted to know what you thought. To this day, I still don't know what she was trying to tell me. I guess I'll never find out. I hope they're okay.
Do you think they should have stayed apart?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Your biggest regrets in life come from not doing the things you want to do. If they took a chance and failed, at least they tried. If it's for the one you love, you can do anything. And who knows, they may still be able to fix it.
Love?
That's what it sounds like to me.
I closed my eyes and leant my head against his. I forgot that I was doing the narration. It was warm and comfortable. It felt natural.
It really is strange, you know? That so many bad things could happen. Yet, I could feel so happy. I don't know what it is about you, but you cheer me up every time.
Only we weren't from a dystopia. I don't know how to put it into words, but there's something special about Fawn. Thoughts of Fawn drifted through my mind as consciousness slipped away.
Truth. Find it. Judgment. From the gods.
Ugh.
I woke up all sweaty, my hand clenched in a fist around Fawn's. I felt him shift from my shoulder.
Are you okay? Is it the dreams again?
I'm alright.
He was looking down at our interlocked hands.
Oh, sorry.
I took my hand away from his quickly.
We should try to find...
Well, you two are awfully close.
You left us in the middle of the night.
It's not what it looks like.
Not like he would know.
What does it look like? Anyway, there you are. I was about to come looking for you. How long have you been standing there?
Long enough?
Right.
I quickly got up and brushed the dirt off my clothes before holding out my hand to the red-faced fawn.
Here, let me help you up.
Thank you.
I looked closely at Leos. His face was a little ashen and he had shadows under his eyes.
How are you feeling today?
Like shit.
How do you think I'm feeling?
Not great?
Then why did you bother asking?
Oh.
Fine, I'm feeling fine. Tired and a little sore, but it's not the worst injury I've ever had.
He really doesn't look fine. He's much too proud. He won't admit it even when he needs help.
We should check both of your wounds before we leave. And drink. It might be a while before we find more drinkable water.
It's great to know that not everything the Pipsqueak says is ridiculous after all.
These two are like cat and mouse. Fawn doesn't do anything to defend himself, and Leos just happily chases him.
Anyway, how much further do we have to go?
It's about a 2-day walk from my house, so if we leave now, then we should be close by sunset.
It only took us a few minutes to prepare ourselves for today's trek. I rubbed my hands together and tightened my collar around me. This time of the morning, the wind was really biting. I know it's a good thing that we're not anywhere close to Aurelia Cabela, but it still hurts to be so far from my home and the people I care about. I can't help but feel like we're going in one massive circle, with no end in sight and for no purpose. That we'll be running away like this forever. Even if we get to where Fawn's leading us, then what? More forest? Are the three of us meant to live out our days in some treehouse in Harmony? We'll see that happening. If I manage to survive, what can I even do? Okay, I know it's a little bit early, but I think that I'm going to end this episode here because that just felt like a good stopping point, and we know from the previous couple of episodes that how far up are we gonna pan? Oh my goodness. We know from the previous couple of episodes that if I wait any longer, I'm gonna be in the middle of a scene. I'm not gonna know where to cut it. Just like, this looks good, let's cut it here. Thoughts on this episode and my feelings for it? Again, I'm having that same feeling as I did last episode of like, this game's occasionally a little bit awkward. I was definitely like snarky here, and I just am not quite meshing with the story. I'm debating whether or not I want to finish this demo, to be completely honest, because there are some aspects to the story that I find interesting and I want to see a little bit more of, but simultaneously I'm just not 100% into this, and I don't know how to feel about that. But considering the fact that I've recorded 2 episodes of this already today, maybe the answer is sleep on it and return to it tomorrow and see how I feel about it. Maybe record some more tomorrow. I don't know. But that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If I continue with another episode, I hope that you're excited for that. And I may or may not see you then. Maybe I wake up tomorrow and I like give a little bit of here's my thoughts on whether or not I'm finishing this. I don't know. I'll see. Alright, so it's actually been a couple of days since I recorded this video. I just wanted to hop in here real quick and let you know my final thoughts, whether or not I'm going to be continuing on with this game and what I slept on and decided. I was looking at the Steam page for this game, everybody's reviews. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I believe there's like 300-ish reviews for this game, and of those 300, there are 4 negative reviews. A lot of those negative reviews were saying the same things that I was saying in the game. It's a little bit awkward, especially at this point in the game that we are in. I've seen a handful of people not be happy with the game and decide to give it up at this moment, literally. I also found in the community section of Steam somebody who asked, hey, I tried the demo. I got to this point that we are in the demo right now, and I'm not really liking it. Should I continue on with it? Just kind of like whether people recommend continuing on. And somebody replied to that and said that, you know, they really like the game. They recommend continuing on. But one of the big things to sort of think about is that the game doesn't really open up and get better until you get to the town that we're heading towards in the game, and you meet the third love interest, whose name I can't even remember. And I've been sitting on that for a while, kind of going back and forth of whether or not I want to just stop playing this game, give up on it, or whether I want to get to that point in the game and see how I feel about it then. I'm assuming that this demo ends once we've met the third love interest, once we get to the city, all that. And ultimately what I think I've decided is that I'm going to go ahead and complete the demo. I'm gonna take their recommendation, wait until we get to the city, and whether or not I'm enjoying it, how my feelings change based off of that content. One thing that I do know that I'm going to do in future episodes, so there's probably 1 or 2 more episodes that we have in this demo, is I'm going to change it so that the character voices are off and that I just voice everything, because you would be surprised how much editing goes into making these videos. In episode 1, if you remember, there were the 2 children that Rain was telling the story to, and those 2 characters I had to turn down the volume of because they were so incredibly loud. But everything else, Fawn in particular, you know, he speaks very quietly. And I know that in my editing, he still speaks a little bit quietly. It's still hard for you to hear him. But I boost his audio and he's still speaking that quietly. To me, unboosted, unedited audio, I can barely tell when he stops talking. I have no idea. I just kind of guess and continue on and hope that I'm doing it good. And that is kind of one of my biggest issues with playing the game. I think what I'm going to do, as I said, is I'm just going to turn off all voice acting and I'm just going to read everything myself. I think that will really help me enjoy the game a little bit more. I don't have to worry about that aspect. But otherwise, yeah, I'm going to give it another go. I'm gonna get to the end of the demo and see whether or not I like it from there, because I am interested in the story. It's just certain aspects of the writing and the character relationships plotline that I'm not all that into, and I also just really want to give it the chance that it deserves. You know, this is my 3rd game from 2.5 Studios, the developer. I want to enjoy this 3rd game. I want to give it the benefit of the doubt here. So I will see you next time for a little bit more of this story. We'll see where it goes, and yeah. I'll see you then.